Welcome back, video 2. If you guys like the first video, I got one simple favor to ask. Subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, what are you doing? It's going to take you 2 seconds, and I promise I'm not going to blow you up with 10 shorts a day. To be honest with you, I don't have the manpower for that quite yet. It's going to be one valuable video per week. And if you guys have ideas on what valuable videos I should be making, drop it in the comments. Seriously, I'm open to that. Like I talked about in the first video, I want to get super specific, super tactical on all things sales. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to use ROI-based closing logic, simply showcase an ROI to your prospect to close more deals. And it's a pretty straightforward concept, so where I want to spend most of my time is talking about why this is so effective and then how I can apply it on a call today so I can make more money today. And before I get into it, I just want to talk about how high-ticket closing is portrayed online today versus how it should look when it's done correctly, because I've hired a lot of closers. I can tell you firsthand, I've never once yelled at one and made them take their shirt off and confirm that they had a six-pack before they could sell for me, or given them a 300-page booklet with 100 canned objection responses. For whatever reason online, it's very over the top, it's very aggressive, it's very you versus them, beat this guy in the submission, high pressure, do it or else your wife's gonna leave you, you're gonna be broke forever, when it doesn't need to be that way. Hormozi put it really well in a presentation, but he simply said, sales is a dance, not a fight. It's seduction, not rape. Which is extreme, but it gets the point across. It definitely stuck with me. So how it should look when it's done correctly, you two, you and the prospect are on the same team. You're trying to get them to come to the realization that this is what's best for them. And you're trying to get them to come to that realization on their own, by the way. Then once you guys both agree that this is what's best for them, you're holding them accountable so that they can take actions aligned with their goals. Now, there's still going to be pushing. There's still going to be persuasion. There's still going to be objection handling. There's still going to be active closing going on there because a lot of times people don't want to take actions aligned with their goals, and our job as a closer is to make them do that. So in other words, if we want to visualize this thing, we both want the same thing, me and the prospect, and we're trying to have them get up, walk around, and come sit on our side of the table, as opposed to me having to reach across the table and drag them across it. And people only buy for a select few reasons, like I mentioned in the first video: love, health, wealth. And if you're selling to business owners like I do, they're pretty much always going to buy it for that third reason, wealth. They're going to buy it because they think this is going to make them more money. So obviously, we want an effective way to showcase what the ROI could look like on that call. So let's continue on. Why using ROI-based closing logic works. There's 2 types of persuasion you need to close a deal. Logical persuasion. This is going to help your prospect justify the decision based on numbers, ROI, comparisons, facts. Okay, this makes sense. This is a good investment. Emotional persuasion. And this is going to make your prospect want to act. This is based on pain. Hey, what's it going to look like if this continues on for another 6 months? FOMO. Hey, the top 3 players in your space are all using this strategy. How much money do you think you're leaving on the table if you don't? Opportunity cost. Hey, your churn rate's at 30%. How much money you're leaving on the table if that continues for another 3 months versus if we could get it down to 10%. Relief. What would your life look like if we took all this off the table for you and you only had to work 4 hours a week as opposed to 80? Trust. This is going to come in a lot of different forms, but obviously they're going to need to trust you even if they think this logically makes sense before they can pull out their credit card and hand it over to you. So you're going to get the close when you combine both so that they can justify the decision and want to act now, which are 2 distinct things, right? Like I can know that going to the gym for me is a good idea, but if I don't want to do it today, a lot of times I won't. 10% of people will come to the call wanting to act. So as long as this makes sense to them logically, they're going to buy. Those are the easy ones. Those are the laydowns. But if you're shooting for a 30 to 40% close rate, for instance, the other 20, 30% of people that you're going to close will need the emotional persuasion along with the justification. Now, some people are more emotional buyers and some people are logical buyers. But it's a very interesting thing when you're selling to business owners. Even the more emotional buyers want to seem like they're logical buyers because for whatever reason, it makes them seem more competent. They want to be Mr. Business Owner who thought through every variation of how this is going to go down and they made the number based on cold hard facts. So even though that's not how it plays out, that's still how they want it to seem. So in pretty much every scenario selling to business owners, showcasing the ROI is going to help close the deal. And for the sake of closing on the call, if you've ever heard, hey, we need to run the numbers, thanks man, we're going to do our due diligence. In what scenario would we be better off with them doing it off the call as opposed to live on the call, right there with us? Pretty much none, right? If we can have our voice being in the room with them while they're doing that, that's better 99% of the time. So we're going to want to have a way to showcase that effectively on the call, which is what we're going to go over step by step right now. How do we do this on the call? Step 1, show them the numbers. You can do this in a few ways. Using an ROI calculator, which is essentially just, okay, I have my numbers on what average client results are right now. Do not put yourself in a situation where you're perpetually overpromising. Just use real averages based on what you've seen. And I could show you guys how to make an ROI calculator in a second here. Price anchoring. So, hey, if you have maybe like a super deliverable heavy offer, this is how much it would cost for an in-house video editor and a production team and all of this. It would typically cost somebody at least 150 grand a year. It's only going to cost you $3 grand a month with us. Offer stacking. You guys see this really well in presentations with Russell Brunson. Now it's Hormozi, where it's like, hey, I typically sell this for $35,000. I sell this for $70,000. I sell this for $100,000. You guys are only going to get it for the low cost of $5,000, right? Social proof that shows real quantifiable results. So case studies, testimonials, and once again, you want to be able to show real quantifiable results for this part in the form of clients, revenue, real cold hard USD, not leads, views, satisfaction. I mean, if you have those, it's better than nothing. But for the purpose of showcasing ROI, you're going to want testimonials that really talk about the end result that they want, which isn't more leads, it's not more views, it's not more satisfaction. Like I said, it's more money, because that's why they're buying in the first place. I can tell you firsthand, we've put out hundreds of case studies and testimonials. The ones that talk about real revenue growth are the ones that work the best, especially for this function of presenting it live on the sales call here. Bonus, the goal here is to build up an overwhelming amount of evidence that this makes sense for them. So even the most skeptical of prospects have a hard time disagreeing, right? So if I can use an ROI calculator, price anchoring, offer stacking, social proof, and real quantifiable results, great. It doesn't have to be one and then you have to be married to that one way of doing it. If you can do a combination, do all of them. So let's get into what an ROI calculator would look like, since some of you guys may not be familiar with the concept, but of these, it's probably the easiest to spin up and also my favorite here. So I stepped away for a quick minute and made this prompt, and you guys can look at what I put here. Essentially just went to Claude, which is free, went to apps and websites, and then basically just clicked on this, started the prompt, which is I'm looking to build an ROI calculator. My offer is cold email. My packages allow customers to send out 20,000, 40,000, or 6,000 emails a month. For the cost of the 20,000 emails package, it's $2K a month, 40,000, $3K, 60,000, $4K. Let's make the 20K email a month package called Starter, 40K email a month package called Pro, and the 60K emails a month package called Expert. In terms of average client results, clients will see a 2% response rate. That means from 20,000 emails, the clients expect to see 400 replies. Of those replies, 5% are typically positive, meaning that the client would get 20 replies. Those are the leads. Of those leads, clients will typically convert 40% into book calls. So the client will get 20 leads and then usually get 8 calls from that. From the 8 calls booked, I want the prospect, so this is interactive as well, the person using the calculator to enter in their close rate and LTV. If the close rate is 25%, for example, then the client would get 2 new clients. If their LTV is $10,000, their return would be $20,000. So I try to run through that as quickly as possible for you guys. So basically it just confirmed that this was all correct. I said, perfect, let's build it. Here's the key packages, cool, it's done. And I also just said, added one more prompt that basically said, where is it? Oh yeah, can we also show the returns that they would see in cash value over the 6 months? So this is something that I did in literally 2-3 minutes. And you can see I can click on this, and let's say my close rate is 25% and my LTV is $20,000. This is my ROI breakdown. I'd get 4 new clients on this package here. The financial impact would be 80,000 in revenue. The monthly investment is 3K for that package. As I told it, the monthly profit is this over the 6 months, which was my second prompt. Month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6. Once again, this is very clear. Like, okay, this decision logically makes sense for you. But if I can combine other things along with this as well, so quantifiable case studies, obviously that's going to help with that trust aspect. But getting back into the next steps, the first thing is just have a proven way, and I gave you guys a bunch to show this on the call. Bonus, if you use more than one at once, great. Step 2, now that you've presented the evidence, ask them if they believe that they're going to get those results. Pretty straightforward. Hey man, based on everything I showed you with the ROI calculator, with this package right here, do you think being on that pro plan would actually get you guys to the point where you have the 10 new calls a month that you told me you guys were looking for? Now, step 3, after I've asked that question, which is essentially, hey, here are the numbers. I'm curious, do you think this is going to get you to that? Step 3 is actually understanding and knowing how to handle what type of response you get. If it's a certain yes, lay out the onboarding steps, make them seem valuable with quick wins. It's going to reduce friction. It's also going to reduce that fear of the unknown, because confused prospects don't buy. So I mean, even if they really want to do this and think it's a good idea, if they can't visualize what the next couple steps look like, that could prevent them from closing. But just do it cleanly, have a rehearsed way of talking about what the onboarding steps look like, highlight quick wins, and ask for the sale. Don't overcomplicate it. If it's an uncertain yes, which trust me does not mean yes, and what an uncertain yes means, yeah, I think so. Or like, yeah, I could see, yeah, I was getting those results, which nobody talks that way. But a lot of bad sales guys will accept that as an answer and think it's a yes. Just take yourself out of the sales call and imagine yourself in any other situation. If you were to ask your girlfriend, hey, do you want to go get pizza? And she was like, yeah, I think I could see myself getting pizza. You'd be like, what's wrong with pizza? Why don't you want to get pizza? Like, you would just call it out, because that's clearly not the way a human responds yes when they're enthusiastic about something. So if it's an uncertain, half-baked yes, a lot of times I just like to ask them why. Right? So yeah, I think this could be a good move. Hey, why? Why do you think that? Then they'll start to sell themselves on the logical reasons they'd want to do this. Right? Well, you guys have good case studies, and I mean, this is way more volume in terms of the package that you have than whatever we've done before in the past. And once we've established those logical reasons, now we need to gauge where they're at emotionally. because they could tell themselves, we could point out and highlight a couple of those logical reasons, but with this prospect, we're going to need those emotional reasons as well. So then we could say, okay, cool. So considering the fact that you think this will get you to this result for those reasons you just highlighted, is there any reason you wouldn't want to get started on this? Once again, those half-baked yeses are never real yeses. So they're always going to have an excuse. They're always going to have a reason they're not doing it. But that's a good thing. We want to pull that objection out of them. The worst thing that can happen is them not telling us, and then they leave the call, and then they ghost us and never get back to us. And any of you who are in sales have had that happen to you before. It sucks, right? So this is really just a good way for us to get that objection out of them by asking like, hey, yeah, I agree. It's good for these reasons, and I think it can also get you there. So I guess, is there any reason you want to get started on this? Boom, they're going to say the objection. They'll probably give you the real objection, which is super important. That's half the battle, is actually isolating the objection itself. And we've already untackled uncertainty in the sense like, hey, does this logically make sense? So it's most likely going to be a fear objection, a timing objection, a partner objection, or a money objection. And we're going to talk about that in a future video, how to handle objections and talk about those primary objections, because there's only a select few of objections in the world. They're just framed in a bunch of different ways. If it's, I'll think about it, we need to push past that and isolate the real objection. I'll think about it is not a real objection. It's simply a smokescreen. Now, if they respond to step 2, this question right here, with anything outside of yes or an uncertain yes, then we just need to call it out, right? We need to get straight into the objection handling and figure out why they're, they should be over here if they want to close, but they're way the fuck over here, right? And the way that you can call it out is and it's easier said than done. It's a muscle you definitely have to work, but once you do it enough times, it's really not that difficult. You just break the fourth wall. Hey, be honest with me here, man. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. It sounds like you're not 100% sure that this is gonna help you fix your lead generation issues to get you guys to 20 calls a month. What's coming up for you that's giving you some doubt? All right, so we can get right into the important stuff, which is handling that objection, because obviously it's clearly preventing them from close, so we got to solve it. Now, step 4, if we've done steps 1 through 3 correctly, you've already closed the deal, or we need to make sure they're there emotionally sold. I think I just messed that up. Typo number 2. Damn it, almost made it through the whole video. We need to make sure that they're emotionally sold on taking action, then handle any remaining objections, right? So like I said, we're going to talk about objections in future videos, but this can get you super far. Everything I talked about today, using that ROI calculator, using a way to showcase the ROI on the call, and on the call is a huge part of it. Like I said, if you ever hear we need to run the numbers, we need to do our due diligence, like cool, we want to be in the room when they're having that conversation. Let's just get it done now. And this can get you pretty far to the point where we've logically covered that they should do this. We most likely just need to do a little groundwork on making sure they're emotionally there, they really want to do this, then handle any of those remaining objections, whether it's fear, partner, timing, or money. So cool. If you guys like this, like I said, I'm gonna get into those objections in a future video, but drop a comment, drop a like if you guys have questions as well. I'm gonna be pretty active in these early videos, just getting back to all those questions in the comments. So let's go from there. Thanks, guys.